Hello, I'm Jim Morningstar, Director of Transformations, and your guide through this 8-session advanced practicum and apprenticeship in community building. The focus of this 7th class is knowing the family dynamics we bring into the community and to rewrite dysfunctional scripts and to own the playful and fulfilling energies we came into this world to share for the enhancement of all. Family research. You do not have to be studying to be a family therapist to do or get great benefit from doing your own personal family research. Just collecting the data usually turns up issues that can be very instructive and explain many family patterns that seemed unique to your family. Some of them may be eminently worthy of perpetuating, but others perhaps not. These are called multi-generational patterns that all families have, and many of which are unconscious. One way of getting an overview is to collect dates of birth, death, marriage, major illnesses, etc., where people lived, their occupation, religion, and the more subtle information like their level of functioning and the roles they played. In my studies, we put this information into a genogram chart as extensively as we could. Patterns could be obvious. For example, who was named after whom? Who played the responsible eldest, the golden boy or girl, or black sheep in each generation? In one family, for example, the researchers saw that in each generation there was one person labeled as the underfunctioning one, and one who happened to be darker complected than the others. Now, in digging through family portraits in Grandma's attic, he came upon a picture of a woman who looked distinctly Native American. Questioning the family elders, he found that great-great-grandfather had married a, quotes, squaw, who, though was well known for her wisdom and herbal remedies which helped many family members, was never fully accepted by the family and, quotes, hidden away as this portrait had been. Thus, anyone showing her darker skin traits was seen as inferior and took on those projections right down to the present generation. That darker complected brother in this family was not encouraged to pursue an education as others were, and thus worked as a tradesman, seen as of less value, rather than a professional that was held in higher esteem by the family. Family roles. A role traditionally is a scripted part of a drama with predictable ways to function with other characters with which it engages. As such, a player of the role does not act at random, but helps to provide stasis in the drama unfolding. In other words, you can count on them to take certain positions towards issues that arise. The payoff for having this role is a certain security of position. The company or group needs someone who can play that role well. The price one pays, however, for being typecast in that role is that it restricts one's creativity and freedom of expression to other attitudes and behaviors. Families can be seen as having casts of characters playing rather defined roles with the same benefits and drawbacks as just mentioned. Examples of such roles in a family structure are a mediator, clown, rebel, baby, responsible, sick, emotional, hero, pursuer, distancer, parent, child. Family roles are a function of the mind which seeks structure and predictability, even if it means knowing who's going to bring chaos into the situation. If we went to a play and in every scene all the actors changed roles, our minds would have a hard time following the narrative or even enjoying the outcome. We like to see the consequences of maintaining roles and what it takes to break free of them when presented with opportunities and challenges. Our goal here in looking at our family roles is not to typecast ourselves or get stuck in our roles, but to put our heart into them and to use them well, to be creative with them, and not to define ourselves by them such that we cannot step outside of them when a higher purpose calls for it. For example, my role as an understanding father may have to be set aside at a family gathering should a client be in crisis and need immediate attention. Your role as baby of the family may need to be superseded by a calling to take an unpopular but adult stand on dealing with abuse toward one labeled as the black sheep of the family. Take handout 3, Family Roles, and in section 1, Past Roles, A, list 1 to 3 roles you've played in your family in the past. Then B, list advantages to each role, and C, list disadvantages to each role. Then in section 2, Current Roles, complete A, list 1 to 3 roles you currently play in your life groups. B, list advantages to each role, and C, list disadvantages to each role. Finally, in section 3, A, list your intentions for increasing the benefits for certain roles you play in your life. And B, list 1 to 3 new roles with which you'd like to experiment in your life and why. Now remember, roles serve a necessary function in our life. We do not wake up each morning and decide who in the family is going to work, who is going to school, who's going to pay the electric bill. It's convenient and necessary to assume various roles for consistency and efficiency, as well as focus and growth to which each person is called. The operative point is how we can consciously use them and not get trapped or hide in them. Complete handout 3 and come back to the video. In family therapy, we would at times coach family members who are trying to get their family unstuck from fixed projections to play with role reversals and exaggerations. An example of this was a woman who had the role in her family of advocate for empowerment of her niece, who was labeled as dependent and incompetent and not a good investment to go to college. But her views as an advocate were always dismissed by those who reinforced the niece's position of incompetence. So the advocate was coached at the next family meeting about what to do with the niece by reversing her position. That is, saying she finally realized how helpless this girl was, and to propose a trust fund be set up to which every family member should contribute to provide for all this girl's needs for the rest of her life, because she certainly lacked the potential to care for herself. She produced the, quotes, legal documents for all to sign to rescue this poor child, citing chapter and verse as to why she needed this help. Now, such a role reversal cannot be done sarcastically or condescendingly toward the other family members, but played with the right amount of sincerity to highlight the prevailing consensus beliefs. It didn't take long for family members to start coming up with positive attributes and strengths of the niece and reasons why she had the abilities to fend for herself and make it through appropriate education. The point here is to have loving and respectful fun with Shakespeare's analogy to all the world being a stage. In so doing, education with entertainment in our lives can help us be more lighthearted, even through some of the more serious drama that plays out around us. We can use our roles to bring out our authentic self's signature strengths, or hide who we really are with our roles. We are rewriting the script every day and inviting new characters in with which to play. Family secrets. Now, any good drama is fueled with secrets. These are emotionally charged bits of information that, when held back, keep us locked in our roles and freeze our creative energies or shuttle them into further elaborations of misinformation. As has been warned, oh, what tangled webs we weave when first we practice to deceive. Again, how many movies or books have you seen that start out with a secret and escalate until the truth comes out, or never does, and leaves us pondering on what could have happened if only? There is a lie held in place with fear behind secrets. Most often, the lie looks like it's lying to others, until the protagonist discovers the lie they have told themselves, or never does, which is the basis of tragedy. The audience sees it, but the character falls victim to their own deceit. For example, I will never feel and be recognized for my own greatness as long as my dominating father, the king, is alive. Well, we all know what comes next, but are fascinated by how it plays out. Will the characters get glimpses of their own lies and change courses? Or will they ensnare others with similar thirsts for self-denied power, which they believe they will have if they join the conspiracy? The story is similar even in a lighter romantic comedy. That is, the main character believes they're not lovable because of X, Y, or Z. And the tale unfolds until every X, Y, and Z plays out and is trumped by the power of love in the human spirit. The traditional Greek play was evaluated by its ability to ennoble the human spirit. If the main character were able to triumph over their inner conflicts and release the lie or character flaw, we have all learned something, not just intellectually, but emotionally, as we identified with the actors who played their roles wholeheartedly. What was considered an inferior play was one in which the protagonists cannot figure it out for themselves, even with the help of cues from their life, and have to be saved by a, quotes, deus ex machina. That is, a device behind the stage which would lower down from the rafters a god that would save the hero in the nick of time. This was considered inferior because it relied on fate to save humans rather than bringing out the noble qualities within them to change their fate. Even in the romantic comedy, it would hardly be satisfying if the main character were not developed and shown to be a deserving human, and their dream lover just came along and swept them off their feet by dumb luck. So let's bring this home to our families. Take handout 4, Family Secrets, and in section 1, Secrets Kept in My Family. Complete A. 3 secrets kept in my family were. You may know what the secret was. For example, my brother was adopted but did not know until he was an adult. Or you may not know, for example, why father never attended church with mother. Now, of course, our mind will make up reasons or even accept reasons like, he doesn't believe in religion. But the fact that he was molested by a religious authority as a boy may never have come to light. So write the obvious secrets, but also the suspected secrets, which may have more emotional juice to them than the obvious ones. Then complete B. The limiting effects these secrets had on me was, and C. How I'm willing to release any limiting effect of these secrets from my life is. Complete section 1 and come back to the video. Now, the deepest work, as always, is done within us. In this case, it is to uncover and release the secrets we keep from ourselves. More than an intellectual exercise, it's an emotional shift from inner constriction to greater freedom. The more of the self-limiting beliefs we release from the mind, and the fear which has held them in place in the body, the more self-empowerment we recover. Do not be disheartened if this is challenging. In fact, if it is not at all challenging, you're often just skating on the surface. You can go as deep as you're willing to at this point for yourself now. Exercises like this bear repeating periodically, and if done in good faith, will always bear more fruit. To help get into the wisdom of the body, to let us know what is stored in our cells, using conscious breathing can be very helpful. We'll do this together before we complete Handout 4, Section 2, Self-Secrets. A. 3 secrets about myself I've kept from others are. Now, you may say that you've told everything about yourself to different people, for example, that you were abused. But what you may not have fully conveyed is the depth of the shame that this holds for you. Now, you're not expected to write your deepest secrets on this handout, but at least make notations about the topic that remind you of the secret if you prefer not to write it out. Then complete B. The lie about myself each secret holds is, and finally C. The positive truth about my authentic self that releases this lie is. And D. What I'm willing to do to live this truth about my authentic self more fully is. Again, only write in detail what feels comfortable for you to write. The place in which it is critical that you do write it, however, is in your heart. That's where you will keep the commitment to live your truth more fully henceforward. So let's take 25 connected breaths together now before completing Section 2. If you will be completing Section 2 later, you can take 25 more connected breaths before you do it then. Let's draw in on the inhale and relax on the exhale 25 times together. Begin now. Now, suggest that you have the support of your inner guidance and your community to use this exercise for your highest good. Complete Section 2 and come back to the video. The purpose of this work is to break free from the energy-holding patterns and recover our core innocence and freedom to live our purpose in joy and mutuality. Sometimes these breakthroughs are instantaneous and immediately impactful, and sometimes they're more gradual and cumulative, or some of both. The key is that we embrace them and give them the space in our life to grow. Envisioning how you will do this right now will help seal the deal. Okay. I send and receive blessings for our circle and all sentient beings till next class. Blessings in light and love.